I think the key kind of fulcrum at this point is Europe's buy-in in this process. Can we get to an intermediate peace agreement that Europe can live with and come on board, right?
That seems to
And
be
I
the
think
yeah.
that's the hang up at this point. Also, I mean, Russia as well. Russia wants to maintain its recognition over the four provinces in the that border the Sea of Azov, which would leave ports available to what we call Ukraine, right? The Western government to export through. I think the question at this point is, can we come to an agreement that both Russia and Europe, and then you kind of lump the European or the Ukrainian government in with Europe? Can we get to something that they're happy with? And right now, you've got the first step in that process kind of written and signed between the U.S. and the Ukrainian government. And I think the next action on the to-do list is now figure out from a deal-making perspective, what can you offer Europe to entice them into this deal? And Europe's in a particularly interesting situation. Nick and I talked about it on the podcast with the offshore dollar, those bonds. I think if you want to hear 20, 30 minutes deeper conversation on that topic, that's where tuning into that video on YouTube will add some color. But what we get into is it's really, despite the headlines, the narratives of de-dollarization, the dollar is a necessity on both sides of this struggle. Europe needs the dollar to continue this contest. And at this point, this deal has locked in, essentially, assuming we can, actually secure these shipments and bring these goods to market, or where we want them to be as their final market. Where do the dollars go on the other side of those trade, or on the other side of the transaction, right? And we know their final destination. It's in that deal description. The dollars need to stay in Ukraine to fund further infrastructure development. Now the question is, where are the banks, right? I mean, there's going to be banks ultimately in Ukraine that custody and hold those dollars in reserve. But which money centers are involved in between that? So I think that's the question, and that's what you're looking for from the EU and UK perspective on what does the next step attaching onto this deal look like. So we're going to find that out, I think, in the next weeks or couple of months.
And one thing
What that
I
looks like.
want to call out here is this chart you've got inlaid over the top left here, showing where the actual minerals are, and calling out that a lot of this is in territory occupied by Russia. So I'm curious, in your mind, Matt, maybe even Dave, this already sounds like it's going to be a decades-long process of even
Yeah,
accessing.
this is going to take, this is new production. Remember, this is not coming in and getting a cut of existing resources. So this is new investment. That's the whole point of this. So we could go do the research on how long it takes to spin up a new copper mine or whatever else they're going to be extracting. But
Several years.